don't know about you guys, but I personally just love camera gear. I love talking about it, I love watching videos about it, and I love buying new camera gear and experimenting with it. So for that reason, today I decided to make probably one of the most cliche videos in the photography and filmmaking space, which is the what's in my camera bag video. Now this is not the newest and most expensive equipment that's currently out there, but they get the job done for me. So I really hope you're gonna enjoy this video, and let's get straight into it. So the first piece of equipment that I want to show you is my main camera actually, which is the Sony A7 III. Although this camera came out around like 2 years ago at this point, I think it still holds up very well. It's very capable and you can still create amazing videos with it and amazing photos. So I don't think it's a bad decision to buy it even in 2020 and beyond, because now the prices have gone down quite a bit. This still has all the features that you really need in 2020. So amazing camera overall, I can highly recommend it. And the lens that I use on it is the Tamron 17 to 28mm f2.8 lens. This is kind of like a budget version of the Sony 16 to 35 G Master lens, because you know this still has a 2.8 aperture. It doesn't have that big of a zoom range, but it's a lot cheaper. It's less than half the price of the Sony lens, and it's still really sharp. The only thing is that it doesn't have image stabilization. I think it still does a good job at like vlogging and taking landscape pictures or anything like that where you need wide angles. So this is kind of like my main camera setup. Now the next thing in my camera bag that I absolutely love, and this is probably one of my favorite pieces of equipment, is the Sigma 85mm f1.4 lens. This lens comes in this nice little carrying pouch, and yeah, this is just a beast of a lens, especially when it comes to portraits or B-roll where you really need to like isolate the background from the subject. It does such a good job at like blurring the background and creating that amazing creamy bokeh. It's also super sharp. You can see that it has an actual decent size. Like the old version of this lens was pretty huge and really heavy. Now it's still not light by any means. I think it's like half a kilo or something like that, but it's a lot smaller form factor now. Overall, just like a beast of a lens. Moving on to this section of my camera bag, I have like just a normal ND filter for both of these lenses. You know, this is nothing crazy. It's a variable ND filter, so I can keep my shutter speed double the frame rate that I'm shooting with. This was like 60 bucks or so, but it doesn't have much color shifting, and overall it's like a pretty good quality one. For now, this gets the job done just fine. The next little thing here is a lens pen. Now a lens pen is something that if you don't have, you should definitely invest into, because it's like $5. This is going to like save your ass when you're out there shooting, dirt gets on your lens and you need to clean it up. You don't have anything, just like a shirt. Make sure that you don't use your claws to just like try to clean up the lens, because you're gonna scratch it. Instead, buy one of these bad boys, which can just slide out, take all the dust off the lens and clean it up. This is a super useful little tool. The next thing in my camera bag is my drone, which is still the good old trusty DJI Mavic Pro. Now this drone at this point came out around 4 years ago, so it's not the newest technology by any means, but I think it still holds up just fine. I might gonna upgrade for the Mavic Air 2 because of the better image quality and smaller size factor, but this drone is still like really good. I mean, it can shoot 4K. The image is not as clear as the newer ones, but nowadays you can grab it for like pretty cheap if you're buying it used. So I actually made a review about this a couple of weeks ago, so go ahead and check that out if you're interested. And I have a couple extra batteries so I don't run out of juice, and I also have a little controller for it. Now the next piece of equipment that I carry with me at almost all times is the Zion Crane 2. It's very good for my camera, because with the 85mm, even if you have like really steady hands, you're just not gonna be able to get like smooth and cinematic footage if you're incorporating a lot of movement in your video. So yeah, this gimbal is amazing for smoothing out your footage. It can handle pretty high payloads. So yeah, overall really good gimbal. I bought it a couple years ago and I still use it and it doesn't have any issues. The next thing I like to bring with me when I go traveling is my MacBook Pro. That's where I edit all my photos, videos, and do all my work. So yeah, it's probably one of the most essential things for me, and I carry it in my bag, and I have a couple accessories for it. So first, in this pouch of my camera bag, I have this little MacBook Pro dongle, which I freaking hate. I bought this thing for like over $100 and it disconnects all the time. It doesn't have really good quality. So overall, very much not recommend this piece of shit. I have an external SSD for my MacBook. This thing is awesome. This is the Samsung T5 SSD, and you can see that the form factor of this is tiny. I mean, it's literally smaller than my palm, and it has 1 terabyte of super fast storage, and I also have this custom USB-C cable for it. And last but not least, I like to carry around with me a good pair of headphones, and my choice of headphones is the Bose QC35 2. This is an amazing like noise cancelling pair of headphones. The only thing with it is that it has seen better days before I crashed on an e-scooter. So you can see it's pretty scratched and damaged, but it still works, so I'm not gonna get a new one until it like completely fails me. And I almost forgot to mention the camera bag that I used is the Lowepro 450 Tactic AW, something like that. I had this camera bag for around 2 years. I used it a lot. I carried it around with me to everywhere, and I never really had any issues with it. In fact, I love this camera bag and I don't see myself really switching to any other ones. Overall, amazing camera bag and pretty good price and good quality. So these are the things that I use to create my videos and photos on a day-to-day basis. And I also have this little microphone, which is the Rode Video Micro, but I didn't want to take it off because the sound would have been shit like this throughout the whole video. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. See you next time.